Hey everybody, welcome back to Agent on Duty. It is our 4th season and I am proud to be back with our title sponsor, Bernie Glacier, once again, and returning guest, Andrew Perry. Hey guys, how's it going?
Excellent. Nice to be back.
I know, it's crazy. It
Yes.
has been a crazy whirlwind, has it not?
Wild.
Crazy last 18 months.
I know. So, Bernie, you're still with RMA.
Yes, same
And
company.
yeah, so what's been going on? What's filling our guests on? What's been happening?
Well, it's been, like I said, the last 18 months with the rate hikes and everybody's not sure what's happening. It's been a challenging year for mortgage people, real estate agents, lenders. Everyone's kind of taking a back seat and just waiting to see what's happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And Andrew, how are you finding things up near your area?
Honestly, overall, the real estate market has decreased in terms of, action overall, right? But our team has actually had our best year last year and an even better year this year.
Yeah.
I think people are valuing more relationship style instead of more direct online marketing, right?
I think so. I definitely think that there's been a pivot and a shift since we were in lockdowns. Now, you guys, how long have you been in business for now, Bernie?
Approximately 18 years.
So you've seen some ebbs
That's
and
amazing.
flows. Have you ever seen anything like we've seen in the last 4 years?
No, I was just talking to Andrew off camera. It's the last 18 months has been something I've never encountered with the downturn, how quick it changed, the market changed, prices changed, rates changed.
Yeah.
And like every day the rates were changing. So people were just paranoid, and they still are a little paranoid.
I feel like one of the things that I feel like as a real estate agent, I feel like people are double dutching, right? So I don't know if you guys ever watched Double Dutch as kids. I'm assuming you probably weren't big skippers. Maybe you were.
Yeah, I was.
Did you do that
skipped
skip
a lot.
competition?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
with that
know,
all
in
this.
grade school. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's a jump rope for heart.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
it was, right?
Yeah. That was like legendary back in
Yeah.
the, and then you got like prizes and stuff, right? So I remember practicing my double dutching, and it was always like you're watching, and then when you're in, it's like you're in. And then all of a sudden, then you're trying to get out. And I find that the market has been a lot like that. It seems as though, and Bernie, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about this is it seems as though as the rates increase, the stress test increases. So do you want to remind our viewers what the stress test is again?
Sure. So what the stress test is so if the rate is 5%, we qualify the clients at 2% above that, so 7%.
Yep.
So we pretend your payment's at a 7% rate. So your affordability, as the rates go up, go down. So I had clients that were approved for like say 500,000 and the rates went up, then it went to 480, 460, 450. So as it was very, very difficult and challenging for the realtors.
Yes, I was one of those clients. So for anyone out there who's an independent contractor or maybe who works for themselves, one of the things when I was reestablishing my business, you had instructed me that I had to wait 2 years, right?
Correct.
And that was government policy. And last year I was kind of working towards a benchmark to have consistency in those 6 figures. And because I wanted to get a house that was priced between, 7 or 800, depending on what was going on. And then when I finally got my numbers and I finally did my taxes, Bernie, tell them what you told me.
Well, the number was a lot less than what you expected, just because
Okay.
the rates were higher.
Tell them the number, Bernie. Tell them the number.
It was like 400.
It was. It was. So, and if you are buying real estate in London, Ontario, there's not really much that you can get in ways of a house for 400. You're looking at condos, townhouses, that kind of stuff. And I wanted a backyard for my puppy, so I guess I'm going to have to wait, right?
Well, I think the tide's turning, so
Yes.
be patient. So we'll talk about that later.
Yes, definitely. It was so funny because when the Bank of Canada held rates, I was like, marked safe from rate.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that, yeah.
I was like, I gotta be the first one. Andrew, how are you
Yeah.
finding it with your investments and all the different things because you're quite the entrepreneur. You have not just are you running Revel.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell our guests what you've been doing too since your last episode?
Well, in terms of what's going on in my investments in mortgages and all that,
Yeah.
nobody's safe. So I locked in at 2.5% in 2020. My maturity was up last month, and it is so it was at $3,500 for around $1 million mortgage.
Yeah.
And we just got our first payment taken out yesterday, it's $7,000. So it basically doubled, almost exactly doubled.
sorry.
So 2.5 up to a 6.6.
Yeah.
Now, what you're talking about from being approved at 800 and then going down to 400, which doesn't really make sense, but it's not just your affordability
No.
or debt to service
the
income ratio.
payments.
It's the appraisals.
Well, yeah.
So for I've got a building in Muskoka, and that property has 2 commercial units, 4 residential units. We've renovated the commercial units. We've put so much improvements into
Yeah.
it. And when we went to go from a private to a commercial, although the rates were slightly more favorable, however, if I renewed with a private, now you're looking at 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
But the building that's worth, in my opinion, 1.4, the bank was only willing to give me 510,000. So quite the big jump, and obviously my mortgage was higher than that at about 700. So I would have had to come up with 150 grand just to keep my own property. Luckily, we went a different route and found a better bank, but that's a reality for a lot of people.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that is the new reality. We see that there's a lot of listings coming up. We see that there's a lot more activity, but they're kind of, I think the last time I checked the numbers, London was at 3 months worth of inventory. And what's happening is that people, like you said, their mortgage rates have doubled. So when it comes down to this, Bernie, I want to actually throw this question to you. So if the mortgage rates have doubled, what's happening with the refinance side of things?
Well, that's really dried up, like the refinance, because like I have lots of clients that are 2.5, 1. I had 1.89.
Yeah.
They still have 2 years left. So if they're looking for new money, I'm not going to give them 6.4 or 6.3 for everything, just to clean up a little bit of debt. So we're doing a lot of second mortgages, and some of our lenders have these what's called a safeguard mortgage, where you can do a second mortgage at like 7%. It's not bad rates. Or we're doing private seconds, just to keep that first in place, just so they pay it down, and then hopefully we weather this storm with these crazy high rates, and then in 2 or 3 years they come back down. So I'm recommending 2-3 years for all my clients. Just stick it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And Andrew, I'm going to throw this to you. So one of the things that it's very interesting from the real estate perspective. So hypothetically speaking, I'm going to run this scenario. So someone bought 2 years ago. So let's say 2020, 2021, height of the market, right?
Yeah.
So now their mortgage payments have doubled. They can't afford their mortgage payments. Are you advising them to sell or to stay? Because the interesting thing, I don't know if you want to tell the viewers, is what's happening to the property values.
Right. So a lot of people, it all really comes down to, can you afford it?
Yeah.
Did you buy it in a company? is it in your personal name? Are you going to go bankrupt? How is this going to affect your future? Because, it's only going to last 1 to 2 years before you start seeing them going down again.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients have to sell. So they have to be okay with the fact that, but the thing is that if you bought it in 2020 or early 2021, the likelihood of you losing your entire deposit is fairly low. So you know what? Hey, you might have to eat 25 to 50, maybe 80% of your entire down payment.
Yeah.
But again, it all just depends on if they can afford the payments or not. If they can, stick it out. We also have a lot of our clients that are selling their multifamily. So those are the ones that are hitting the market first.
Yeah.
Because if it's not cash flowing anymore, there's no point. And that also might be something that they couldn't afford on their personal side to float for another year or two.
And I'm glad that you mentioned multifamily. So Bernie, you're also an investor, right? When it comes to investment properties and rental properties. How are you finding that market?
I was just talking to Andrew, it's fantastic. Like the rents have, like I got 7 properties and I've owned them for 6-7 years, and my rents have like almost doubled. Like,
wow.
And I try to keep it fairly like reasonable. I don't like to take advantage of some people. So I got houses that are renting for $1,800, $2,000 that some people might rent for $2,800.
Yeah.
But my tenants have been there 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And they take care of the property. And I'm just barely breaking even. I'm not cash flowing because I'm in a variable rate, but I'm a long-term investor, just like Andrew says. I'm going to ride it out. So it's hurting right now. And you got to take from somewhere else or cash in some investment. Just kind of ride it out. It's going to come back.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for sharing that knowledge. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about if you are feeling that pinch with bankruptcy, and if you're feeling like maybe it's time to sell. We're going to give you some strong advice. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we are back. You are watching Agent on Duty with myself, Stacey Preer, and my special guest. Returning again, we have Bernie Glacier from RMA Mortgages, and we have Andrew Perry from Revel Realty. Guys, so you were like dropping some serious wisdom here on anyone who's looking to invest or someone who might have a mortgage that's doubled and they're feeling the financial pinch. So I wanted to get a little bit more into that, because not only do you guys can you say sell mortgages? It's not sell mortgages, right?
I guess I sell mortgages.
Yeah, I was like, what do you do really with those mortgages?
I sell money.
Yeah,
sell
there
money.
you go. I sell money. There you, I wish. I wish I printed money. TBH.
Yeah.
And yeah, so with you guys, both of you guys, you own your own businesses, you own your own homes, and you also have investments, right?
Yeah.
And we have some expensive habits that we'll get into as well.
Who am I?
Huh? What? Who, me? I'm not talking about your hair extensions and lashes there, Bertie. But yeah, so we were talking about the financial pinch. So one of the things that people are always asking me, and I'm sure you guys get asked this a million times, what do you think the market's going to do? Do you think the rates are going to come down? And why do you think that they're doing this? So I'm going to throw this question to you, Andrew.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about it. We've heard rumors, rates are going to come down, but we don't have a magic ball. What are you telling your clients when they ask you this question?
At the end of the day, again, it comes back down to finding exactly what their wants and needs are. Is
Yep.
it a want or is it a need?
That's
Because
true.
some people say it's a need, but it's actually a want. So
Especially in Muskoka, right?
Yes, absolutely. So, I guess, from what I believe, and again, this is not backed by anything other than theory, but I believe we're going to hit our apex. I think it's going to go up one more time. I think we'll hit our apex at about 5.5, maybe early spring, and then something will, start to slowly decrease by 2025. A lot of my higher end clients are saying, Andrew, we just got to survive till 25.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking the advice of not only industry experts, but also people that are at that high level that are doing, different forms of trading, whether it be real estate, stocks, et cetera.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the best advice I can give them is when it's right for you. And I know that's such a blanket statement, but it can't be any more true.
That's very true. How about you, Bernie? What are you advising
Yeah,
people?
so I'm a little more on the ground floor. So I see like people are struggling. Like
Yeah.
the payments have gone up. I see their credit bureaus. They're in debt. Like we got like $1 trillion of credit card debt in Canada, and they're defaulting. And in the old days I could refinance them, but that's going to come back because we're going to have to reset all this stuff. So I think people are finally slowing their habits, slowing their spending, so it's going to help inflation. But it's taken time. Like people are set in their old ways, and they just think money just comes, right? But those days are over. So I think once the psyche of everyone kind of calmed down, I think everything will reset kind of and get back to fairly normal. I don't think you'll ever see rates at 2% again. That's just not.
No.
I think we need it at 4, like in the 4 range, just to keep a balanced market. That's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I heard rumors around the 3.85.
Yeah, like high 3s, 4s.
I think 4 is, reasonable.
Do you think they're going to keep that stress test higher?
Well, I think they just want to see what's after this little economic downturn is going to happen, and if they'll see if they change it. They're saying that it saved their ass, but saved their butt. But I'm not. I hope they don't, because it's very tough for the young people to get a home.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's actually interesting because what we're seeing now is we're seeing groups of people get homes. And I don't know if you guys are seeing this in your respective businesses, but what I'm seeing is parents who are retired, they're actually moving in with their divorced children.
Yep.
So it's quite interesting because being a divorcee myself now, what I've seen, in the dating spectrum is a lot of guys, they're moving in and they're taking care of things with their parents. So if you guys are looking for other solutions to buying a property, because maybe you can't afford it on a single income, we're going to get back into that right after this break. Hey everyone, welcome back. You've been watching Agent on Duty with myself, Stacey Pereira, and my guest today, Bernie Glacier from RMA Mortgages, Andrew Perry from Revel Realty. Guys, thank you so much. You guys are returning guests too, which is awesome. I know, yeah, 3-time champion. And you got 4. Yeah. You hold the title because he is our title sponsor. So I have to mention that.
Hold the title.
Yeah, he does. He does hold the title. So in case you guys are just turning in, we've been talking about the real estate market, how things have been going, and what we think our future predictions are going to be. Now, one of the things that we were just getting into before break was how people are purchasing properties now. Because it's really interesting, like you had said, it's really hard for first-time home buyers, but it's also hard for people who are maybe going through divorce or they're going through a separation and they don't have that dual income. So some of the things that we've been seeing is divorced couples, whether it's the male or the female, they'll move in with some retired parents, and it's working well for the parents too because now they have someone that can help, you know, do the physical labor, that kind of stuff. Or maybe it might not be working well if your kid was kind of like the, give me a sandwich.
Meatloaf.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, one of the things that it's been an interesting solution for home ownership. But Bernie, you were saying that your friend actually has a new solution to that.
Yeah, so he's just about to launch this new website. It's a co-ownership website.
Okay.
So you would bring like 2 couples together, new home buyers that can't afford it on their own, but you need 4 incomes to get like $1 million home. But you buy like a large home and you split the home top and bottom. And he's got the legal agreement all done up. It's like a 40-page agreement where everything's talked about, and these people get home ownership. So it's 2 separate couples.
Wow, that's really interesting. And how many people are you allowed legally on title in Ontario?
I think it's 4, as far as I know. So that could be a problem if you need more than 4, but for sure it's 4, I think.
Yeah, so for families, if you've got like 12 people, you can't put 12 on title. No, negative. I mean, it would probably make a really cool frat house too, like if you're going to school.
Yeah.
That would be a really good investment for students, right?
It's crazy what they're paying for rent. $900 a room.
I cannot believe that.
It's unbelievable.
Like,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's and that's the other thing too. Like, I feel like with our economy the way that it is today, we're just further increasing the debt of our young people. And I want to, not that we're not all young here, but I feel like our generation, Gen X and millennials, we were kind of put in that position because we were forced to go to university or college. Whereas our parents' generation, they could get a job at the big 3, or they could get a realistic job without having to pay for education or post-secondary education, I should say. And then they were able to buy and afford cheaper housing. Like back in their day, it was like $40,000 for a decent home, $20,000 even.
Yeah.
Like it's just nuts.
Yeah.
People got to realize when the houses were $40,000 and back in the 80s when the rates were 18%, 18% on $40,000, the payment's not that great.
No.
But 8% on $800,000 is massive.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that is.
it's unbelievable.
Do you guys have any, not that, you know, Big Brother's watching or anything like that, but do you guys have any, I would say predictions, well, not predictions, but do you have any clue or why you think that this happened? Why do you think that we're in this kind of economic downturn?
Well,
you go ahead. You go first.
I think at the end of the day, I posted this to my Instagram stories yesterday.
Why is everything always at the end of the day? What about the beginning of the day or like, you know, the middle of the day?
I know. It's a term that I've always said my entire life.
When you have your
I just
afternoon
think-
delight, go ahead.
I posted this on my stories yesterday on Instagram, and what I believe is that I think we could all agree that the rate of appreciation was getting way too out of control. So Do I agree with how fast they raised everything so quickly and so high? Absolutely not. I think that's ridiculous. But we needed to do something, because if this had kept up, 5-10 years, our house would be worth $15 million. That's impossible, right? So I think it needed to be done, but do I think it's going to help anything? No, because I think as soon as those mortgage rates start dropping, because we have such a low inventory issue, that as soon as those rates start going down even a half a point, people are going to be competing again, unless we do something about the amount of houses that we're building each year.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to get into that when we come back. Thank you guys so much for coming back from break. I am with Bernie Glacier from RMA Mortgages and Andrew Perry from Revel Realty. So right before break, we were talking into why we thought this happened with our economy. So Bernie, I'm going to segue that over to you now. What are your thoughts on this? Why did this happen?
Well, the low interest rates fueled the higher prices, and easily cheap money made everybody go out and put pools in, buy cars, buy trailers, buy boats. Cheap money, refinance, and then the appreciation of the homes, I could keep going back and pull more equity out. And now with the higher rates, that has stopped. So the economy has stopped.
Yep.
Which they need to do because it was getting out of control. There's just no new inventory being built, no new homes being built because people can't afford the $1 million homes. And the existing homes are just gonna, the prices they're not gonna shrink. It's not gonna go down.
No.
And it's going to be an inventory problem. They got to do something about building affordable housing, which that's the buzzword. But I don't know how they're going to get affordable housing when it's $500,000 for a lot of land.
Well, what they're going to have to do as well is they're going to have to change the bylaws in towns to allow multi-generational or multi-families to live in one dwelling. So change it to a duplex or a triplex. They already tried to do that. But what happens when you bring more people into this situation? You need more infrastructure.
Yes.
Property taxes go up because they need to pay for that infrastructure. So it's just, imagine if you could just, like a 2-year-old, and you just draw this circle, and you could just show it to the government and say, look at this circle. This affects this, cause and effect. Boom, boom, boom. I still don't know if anybody would get it.
I know, I'm so sorry. And it's, I wish I could continue this conversation because I'm sure we can go on for a part 2 of this segment.
Yes, I know.
But guys, if anyone wanted to reach you and talk more about this,
of course,
where can they reach you, Bernie?
They can, my website, just ask bernie.ca, or give me a call on my cell phone.
Okay. And how about you, Andrew?
At the Andrew Perry on Instagram.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I am your host, Stacey Preer, and you've been watching Agent on Duty. We'll see you again next time.